There we go. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Good afternoon, everybody. It is 3:32 on Friday, July 5th. I'd like to call this a work session for the Caddo Parish Commission into order. Mr. Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Hopkins.
Here.
Commissioner Johnson. Commissioner Jackson. Commissioner Young. Commissioner Burrell.
Here.
Commissioner Jones.
Here.
Commissioner Gage Watts. Commissioner Taliaferro.
Here, sir.
Commissioner Atkins.
Here.
Commissioner Chavez.
Here, sir.
Commissioner Lazarus.
Here.
And Commissioner Epperson.
Here.
All right, you have 8 of 12 members present. That does constitute a quorum.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Clerk. Commissioner Chavez, would you please lead us in an invocation? And Commissioner Epperson, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Yes, sir.
All stand, please.
Please bow your head. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for this glorious day that you have blessed us with. Thank you for bringing us here together to serve you. Please be with us in our thoughts as we do the wishes of the parish. In your Son's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Let us all turn and face the flag. While we repeat the Pledge of Allegiance in unison, let us think about what yesterday was, July the 4th, our 246th year of this great nation, and no other manifestation of this nation and what it stands for is greater than our Pledge of Allegiance. Also, let us not forget our POWs and our MIAs. All military and veterans render the standard hand to brow salute. All others hand across your hearts. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner Epperson, for that Pledge of Allegiance, and thank you, Commissioner Chavez, for the invocation. Mr. Clerk, do we have any agenda additions?
I am aware of one request for an agenda addition. This was a request from Commissioner Johnson to add to consider expanding the agenda to add the authorization of a special resolution of remembrance for City Marshal Charlie Caldwell.
Okay, do we have a motion? We have a motion. We have a motion, and do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to expand the agenda. We will need to open the floor for public comments. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to come forward to speak either for or against an expansion of the agenda to include this item? If so, please come forward. Seeing no one, we can close the public comments and go to a vote. Mr. Clerk, we're ready?
We should be ready now. All right, that motion carries with 8 in support, none in opposition, and 4 absent.
And Mr. Clerk, just for the record, we should note that Commissioner Burrell made that motion, and who made the second?
I did.
And Commissioner Hopkins made the second. Thank you, Commissioner Burrell. All right, we're ready to move on.
Thank you very much. And that brings us now to citizens' comments, where citizens who wish to address the commission on any issue other than zoning are please asked to fill out a comment card located in the chamber foyer and return it to the president or the clerk of the commission. Individual comments are limited to 3 minutes, and there are comment cards again out in the foyer here. You can return them here to my left, and looks like this. We've got 3 that have been submitted so far. If anyone else does have a comment card, please feel free to turn it in there and we'll get you in. Comments are limited to 3 minutes.
All right, thank you very much. First visitor is Mr. John Hayter. Welcome, Mr. Hayter.
Good afternoon. I'm John Hayter. I'm the attorney for Testament Real Estate. My address is 611 Absinthe Court, Suite C, Shreveport, Louisiana. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you on regards a resolution that is pending before you for decision on Thursday regarding whether or not to contest an annexation of my client's property into the city of Greenwood. Simply a matter of explanation. It's a 5-letter word. It's called water. We're trying to develop 49 acres of property on I-20, and we have no water source. We need a water source. 2 options are available to us. One is to go to the city water, which is 9/10 of a mile down the road. Phenomenal expense to run the water line all the way to my client's property. And on top of that, we would be annexed into the city of Shreveport. The other option is to go across Highway 80 about 100 feet and tap into the Greenwood water system that is there. And so that made a whole lot easier decision to go to Greenwood rather than to the city of Shreveport. But either way, my client was going to be annexed into some municipality in order to get water. And just so you will understand, that pumping station there that is located across from my client's property is part of the town of Greenwood. It is, so we are contiguous to that piece of property, and it made sense to make that move. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Hayter. We're not allowed to ask questions, so thank you for that
That's fine.
information. Okay. Let's see. Marvell Yossi Brown. Come on up. Thank you for coming down to the commission today.
Hello.
Good afternoon.
All right. I'm Marvell Yoshi Brown, local radio personality. I'm hosting my first community event. It's a job research fair in the neighborhood, Cooper Road, MLK area. So I'm just asking for you guys' support. You guys come out, see what's going on. I got a couple of employees gonna come out. Got the Black Lawyers Association is gonna come out, help guys file paperwork for expungements. Just trying to get people back to work. Not taking any checks, any money, anything like that. Just donations and not donations, but refreshments only. This is the first job fair that I know of that's taking place on a Saturday that you can bring your kids to. I'm just doing anything I can to give back and to help in the community. So if just wanted to come here and bring it to you guys' attention.
Well, thank you very much.
No
we
problem.
appreciate the announcement, and we appreciate what you're doing and your efforts. So thank you very
All
much.
right, and Mr. Johnson, I also emailed everything to you. All right.
Thank you very much. Jennifer McKay. Welcome, Ms. McKay.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I'm Jennifer McKay. I'm General Counsel for the town of Greenwood. I'm here on the same matter Mr. Hayter spoke on, the annexation. My comments will be very brief. What I'm here to affirmatively state is that all notice requirements under the law have been complied with, and all requirements concerning the annexation have been satisfied, and I would like you to give that great consideration, and I don't believe that your ordinance suggests otherwise, but that is incorrect.
Thank you very much. All right. Thank you all for all those citizens' comments. Mr. Clerk, do we have any other comment cards?
Those are all that I've received at this point.
Okay. Do we have visitors today?
We have no visitors scheduled today, so that'll bring us to reports, where we do have an administrative report attached.
Dr. Wilson?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, Commissioners.
Good afternoon.
Yeah. Attorney Bernstein is in New Orleans today at federal court, so he is not here. But I did sleep at the Holiday Inn last night, so I can answer any questions you may have relative to some brief aspects of the law, but not very deep. So, but not without laying my report any further, let me give you the census at the Juvenile Detention Center. We have 18 children, 9 in the custody of OJJ and waiting transportation. We have 10 children age 17, and we have 8 at CCC. The gateway sign, Commissioner Johnson, will be completed on August the 7th, around about then, on I-49. Also, the wheelchair ramp, Commissioner Jackson, we'll be sending out the applications August 1st, and Caddo Council and Agent will be handling that for us. And we are also working out a process to deal with the roof repair project, so just want to give you an update on that as well. And I did ask for a further detail on the cost estimate of CCC for you today, and we'll have that for you as soon as possible. Also, spay and neutering started, our new order started July 1st, and it only applies to the rural areas of the parish, as you may be aware. And we did put out information on social media and some other ads. Commissioner John Paul Young also participated with us in getting the word out to the community, and that's going well. The June financial report should be at your station. If not, I'll make sure you get it mailed to you today.
They're not here yet.
Okay, that's fine. I'll make sure you have it mailed today. And that concludes my report. Well, just one other thing. We did have a slight uptick in COVID cases. We had 4 cases from July 1st to June 5th in our organization. So it's ever mindful among us. So we did have 4 employees that contracted the virus. They're doing well and getting over it, but still present. And that concludes my report, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Wilson. Let's see, we've got some people on the board. Commissioner Chavez.
That was for previous.
Okay. Commissioner Epperson, are you?
Yes. Dr. Wilson,
Yes, sir.
that was one of my, I wanted you to give us a COVID update on Thursday also. On Thursday, of all of the agencies that are under our auspices as to if they're having any COVID incidents, you know, like you did, because there is an uptick of COVID
Yes, sir.
contraction within Northwest Louisiana.
Yes, sir.
And
Commissioner
so if you give us an update, and I noticed that Ms. McGee had sent out some correspondence the latter part of last week also.
Yeah. Commissioner
And
Epperson.
secondly is
Commissioner
on the
Epperson.
wheelchair ramps, could we include Caddo Community Action Agency in that? Because a lot of people contact me and maybe some other individuals too relative to
Okay.
you know, winterization and housing improvements, which they do. And sometimes I refer them to things of that nature to them. So would you include Caddo Community Action Agency in that
Yes, sir.
wheelchair deal? Now, does that include the deal where we passed with the roofing involved also?
Yes, sir. We're still working on
It
it.
does. Oh, are you still working on that?
Yes, sir. We're still working on
Okay,
the
but if
process
you
and how that
would you
will
send
roll out.
correspondence to CCAA?
I think we had initially contacted them, and I'm not sure if they have interest in that, but we would verify that again.
Okay, if you could let me know by Thursday whether they
Okay.
are willing or not.
Okay.
Is Mr. Weaver in today?
No, sir, but
Okay,
Mr. Ward,
Ken-
Dr. Ward is
Ken
here.
Ward?
Dr. Ward is here.
Okay. Dr. Ward, if I may have copied you on the email. I know I did Tim and Chuck Wilson on an issue with a citizen out on Woodpine in Bethany. If not, I'll send that to you.
If you don't mind, it doesn't jump out at me. I'm not familiar
Okay,
with it.
well, I'll copy you on, but I
And you
did
said it was
send
Wood Pine at Bethany?
You're right, Woodpine and Bethany. I'll send it to you.
Okay, I'll take a look at it.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Commissioner Epperson, your first question, sir, relative to agencies that report to us on their exposures to COVID. We had 2 out of the 13 agencies reported 2 cases.
Okay. And if you would, just give us another update on Thursday, too.
I would. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Is that Commissioner Epperson?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Johnson?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Dr. Wilson,
Yes, sir.
at the courthouse, how long will that temporary fence be up?
As soon as the concrete fully dried out, we will remove it.
Okay.
It should be another few days or so, a week.
Okay, and did we set up the meeting yet for the 2 ladies on that north area?
I haven't gotten an update yet, but I have Dr. Ward working on that for me.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And Dr. Ward, do we have an update on the, I think that's Harper Road? With the person wanting the,
Yeah, so we just finished traffic study on that, the speed study. We haven't reviewed it yet based on the existing speed that's out there. But once we get that taken care of, we'll have a little more information on Harper Road.
okay, because the issue is they've had 2 dogs to be ran over,
Yes, sir.
killed, and her husband just bought another puppy,
Sure,
and now they also have small grandchildren.
sure.
And they don't want them to get hit.
I mean, as you know, we don't do enforcement. You know, we can, I think that the speed study will probably tell us if the 25-mile-an-hour posting is adequate, but at the end of the day, we don't enforce speed. You know, we've had the sheriffs out there before, and can kind of work on that. We're gonna look and see if the MUDC code that we follow for traffic control devices will allow for something that may slow the traffic down, but typically we don't go down that path, but we will look at it now that we have the data in on the speed study.
Right, and like I said, the only thing that she was requesting was some rumble strips. So
Right.
not nothing that's gonna tear a car up or damage her tires, anything like that.
Sure.
But just make a noise and people know to slow down because they
Sure.
think they didn't hit something.
Yes, sir. We've also added a couple signs out there. Hopefully, we alert
Yeah, but
everybody
you know,
that we've done that.
if the signs wasn't there and the speed limit was already set for 25 and you
Sure.
put some additional signs, they're not gonna follow that.
And I think we found that out for sure.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
That's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Johnson. Vice President Burrell?
Thank you, Mr. President. Dr. Wilson,
Yes,
you
sir.
and I had an extensive discussion about all of the litter and trash that has become just more and more disgusting. I know in the urban center more because I'm an urban legislator, not out in the rural. But I never did get any response back. You said you were going to relay that, I understood, to Mr. Bernstein, but I never got a return call at all.
Yes, sir. Well, I do apologize for that, Commissioner Burrell. Attorney Bernstein and I did talk about the matter, and he told me he was going to give you a call, but he may have been overcome by events because he's got one person deep right now. No excuse, but I'll make sure he gets with you. But we did talk about it, and he owes you that call. I'll make sure you get it.
Yeah, that's been, what, about a week and a half, almost 2 weeks?
I think we talked about it either Thursday, I don't recall the date. You and I talked about it, was it last week, sir?
It wasn't last week, was it?
Yes, I believe it was.
Okay. All right, well, I'm still expecting that call.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Commissioner Burrell. Commissioner Hopkins?
The Long Range Planning Committee will meet Thursday at 2 o'clock. We'll meet in this room. We'll discuss issues related to the UDC and our temporary planning board. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Hopkins. Any other questions? Any communiques or anything to add? Commissioner Jones?
Yes, I'd like to move to suspend the rules, move up item 11.7.
Okay, do we have a motion?
Second.
We have a motion to move up item 11-7, which is the Shreveport National 7 and under baseball team special resolution. The motion was made by Commissioner Jones, the second by Commissioner Burrell. Do we need to open up the floor to move something up? No? Okay, thank you. Any comments around the horseshoe? Would you like to elaborate on that, Commissioner Jones, real quickly?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. President. Wanted to move this up. Much of the team is here. They have some events lined up to prepare to leave for the rest of the week going on tonight, and I don't want to keep them held up. So what I would like to do is to vote to advance this to Thursday, but I'd like to read it in the record today with the hopes that it'll be adopted on Thursday as well.
Okay. Well, let us vote real quickly on that, and then we'll yield to you, Commissioner Jones. All in favor, please vote yes, or if you're not in favor, please vote no. This is to move it forward in the agenda. And I guess, we are at this point, we're moving it forward and voting to also approve it for the agenda for Thursday.
Yeah.
All right, that motion carries with 10 in support, none in opposition, and 2 absent.
All right, Commissioner Jones, how would you like to handle the resolution, the reading of the
We'll
resolution?
go ahead and read into the record if we can, Mr. Clerk. And
Sure.
Go ahead and call them up.
Absolutely. So at this time, if those who are here today for the Shreveport Nationals would like to come up to the front, you can make your way up, and I'll begin.
I'll stand, please.
I'll begin reading the item into the record. So today we have a special resolution of recognition for the Shreveport Nationals 7U baseball program. Whereas the Caddo Parish Commission continues to note with pride and amazement the incredible feats of athleticism, competitive spirit, and perseverance exhibited by the Shreveport Nationals as they placed second in the Dixie League 7 and Under District 4 All-Star Game and will go on to represent Caddo Parish in the state tournament. And whereas the Nationals went into the District 4 All-Star Championship game with a 3-0 record, and while the Ruston Americans, who were also 3-0, may have come out ahead, the Shreveport Nationals did qualify for state tournament in Tioga, Louisiana, which begins later this week, and our Nationals have something to prove and have been putting in the work to do just that. Whereas head coach J.W. Brookshire, along with assistant coaches Taylor Berlin, Steve Moore, and Joe Farley, have led this group of talented young players through an exceptional all-star season, where they have sharpened their individual skills while focusing on their collective strength, knowing that their goal is not to be the best player on the team, but to be the best player for the team. And now, therefore, be it resolved by the Caddo Parish Commission, meeting in legal and regular session this 7th day of July 2022, that it does hereby heartily commend and congratulate the coaches and team members of the Shreveport Nationals for their District 4 All-Star season success, their devotion to excellence, and the pride they bring to their families and their community. Be it further resolved that this commission does wish the Shreveport Nationals the best of luck and invites all Caddo citizens to join us in supporting and cheering on the Shreveport Nationals in the upcoming Louisiana State Tournament.
All the moms got their shots in? All right, we can all be seated. Coach, did you have anything you wanted to say?
Just thank you guys for the opportunity to come up and bring the kids up.
Do you have a spokesman of the team, of the players?
Sir?
Is there a spokesman from the players?
Anybody say something?
Probably all of them.
Commissioner Jones, anything else?
Just thank you all for recognizing this team. They'll be leaving Thursday for the state tournament. The first game is at 4 o'clock Thursday, and so again, this is the only team from this area representing us in the state tournament. So please root them on and show your support, and prayerfully they'll come out with the state championship and represent the state of Louisiana in the World Series.
All right. Well, great. Congratulations to you all. Good luck in the tournament. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we can go back into regular session. Or I guess we need to vote to go back into regular session. All right. We've got a motion by Commissioner Epperson, a second by Commissioner Burrell to move back into regular session. Let's vote to do so.
We actually, some people on the board.
Oh, I'm sorry. Coach, I think.
I don't necessarily. I just want to make sure that we recognize. I was up there for communiques, but wanted to recognize Judge Aaron Lee Wardell, who's here. I was curious to know why she was here, but now we see. But we do like to make sure that we recognize our fellow elected officials who are here, and so just want to recognize Judge Erin Lee Waddell Garrett, who's in the audience with us as well.
She's the legal counsel of the team.
I imagine chief legal counsel and chief mom of the team, and assistant coach in some capacity if I know her.
And I know the commissioner. Sorry, Commissioner. I didn't mean to interrupt. You good?
Oh no, I was just saying she's probably coaching the team as well. So just wanted to recognize.
All right, thank you for that, and sorry for overlooking you all earlier. And Commissioner Burrell was also on the board. I think he wanted to add something to the team.
I just wanted to see if it's okay if I would be added to the resolution.
All right, so we'll add Commissioner Burrell to the resolution as well. Seeing no one else on the board, I think that's it. Thank you all so much. Good to see y'all. Good luck this weekend. Thank you, Commissioner Jackson, for catching that.
Okay,
all
that
right.
brings us back into communiques. I don't know if there were any other commissioners still on the board for that, or
Commissioner Hopkins.
Yeah, I would be a little remiss if I didn't actually clear up that there are other teams. The Blanchard Athletic Club, Dixie Baseball, 8 under, 9 under, 11 under, 12 under, all advancing to state. And the Vivian Athletic Association and Blanchard Athletic Club, in correlation, their Little League 12 under softball is also advancing to state. So we've got a wide variety of kids going to state, representing the Shreveport, Caddo Parish area. Good for them.
Thank you, Commissioner Hopkins. Anybody else for communique? Seeing none, I have no report, so we can move on to old business.
okay, we've got no old business scheduled at the moment, so we can move on to new business. Where your first item today is 11.1. That's authorizing the introduction of ordinance number 6244 of 2022 in relation to 22-1 CTAP, an ordinance to amend Volume 2 of the Code of Ordinances of the Parish of Caddo, as amended, the Caddo Parish Unified Development Code, to extend the notification area for mailed notices, to establish the provisions for the Neighborhood Participation Plan, and to otherwise provide with respect thereto.
Move the advance for Thursday.
Second.
We have a motion from Commissioner Epperson to advance it Thursday and a second from Commissioner Jackson. Commissioner Epperson, any comment?
No, sir.
Anybody on the board? Seeing no one, let's vote to advance on Thursday.
All right, and that motion carries with 9 in support, none in opposition, and 3 absent. That brings us to 11.2, authorizing the introduction of ordinance number 6245 of 2022. That's in relation to case number 22-11-P, an ordinance to amend Volume 2 of the Code of Ordinances of the Parish of Caddo as amended, the Caddo Parish Unified Development Code, by amending the zoning of property located north side of North Lakeshore Drive at the intersection of Fairlane Circle, Caddo Parish, Louisiana, from R17 Single Family Residential Zoning District to RA Rural Agricultural Zoning District, and to otherwise provide with respect thereto. This is in District 2.
Move to advance.
Second.
A motion by Commissioner Johnson to advance, a second by Commissioner Lazarus. Commissioner Johnson, any comment?
Just want to ask Mr. Clark, do we know what type of farm animals they want to put on this piece of property? Mr. Alan Clark.
We don't know exactly the type of animals. If it's my correct recollection, this is the restoration zoning where this was always RA, and with the advent of the Unified Development Code, it was rezoned to R17. They just wanted it returned to its original state.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
That's all I had.
Commissioner Hopkins, is that new or old?
That's on this one.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm a little perplexed because I'm looking at this, and this is the town of Greenwood has asked to be annexed.
Oh.
That's correct?
Wait, no, wrong one.
Oh, this is another one? Okay.
We're on item 11.2 on District 2.
That's the one on North Lakeshore Drive.
I guess I'm not seeing
That's
that
way
one.
from Greenwood.
Okay, okay.
All right, you okay?
Well, I'm
Commissioner?
okay on that then.
Okay, let's vote, please.
Okay, that item advances with 10 in support and 2 absent, none in opposition. That brings us to 11.3, which is to consider the authorization of the introduction of ordinance number 6246 of 2022. That's an ordinance amending the budget of estimated revenues and expenditures for the Riverboat Fund for the year 2022 to provide an additional appropriation for Robinson's Rescue and to otherwise provide with respect thereoto.
Move to approve. Or advance.
We have a motion from Commissioner Hopkins, a second by Commissioner Talferro to advance. Would anyone like to comment on that motion?
Yes. I'm on the board.
Commissioner Johnson.
Yeah, first of all, I would like to know who authored this, because it has no author.
John Paul Young.
John Paul Young was the
I
author.
think it was Commissioner Young, I believe.
That's correct, yeah. Commissioner Young requested it as an extra $10,000 in response to the ordinance, for the new ordinance for spay and neuter.
I don't think they can hear you, Stephanie.
I think she's saying Commissioner Young requested this in response to the implementation of the ordinance, which was scheduled to, it's scheduled to go into effect now. And
Yes, thank you.
I think that's,
Is her mic working?
I think they're working on it.
Probably got dead battery from sitting over there so long. So, second
Damn, you
question.
the IT guy and the lawyer today. Huh?
The second point.
Okay, go ahead, Commissioner Johnson. Second
Yeah.
question.
The second point is that we just recently voted to stop doing this. Last month, we voted to stop doing this kind of stuff. And it's already back on the agenda, so what was the purpose of going through all of the NGO policy when you're gonna put it right back on the agenda? So
I understand.
I'll be voting no because we've set a policy in place to handle this kind of stuff.
All right. Commissioner Hopkins, are you back on the board?
And I think this was one of those that at the end of the year on some of the art money and stuff, it was talked about going for it and then we missed it in the budget somehow. Am I correct on that?
I think so, I believe so.
And that's-
I didn't hear what you were saying.
She said she believes so.
I mean, what you said.
That there was some money, but we didn't get it budgeted at budget time from whatever reason. So it was, because we passed this new ordinance, they need that money to help with that.
Check.
The checking of the spade neutering.
So it took from November of last year to
Well,
July to find?
The spay and neutering doesn't start till this month.
No, I'm talking about in the budget.
Talking about the budget issue?
Yeah, if it was a budget issue, it should have been found long before now. So I don't quite understand that. It does what they requested, but they didn't get it, and so now we want to say we want to give them what they requested.
No. And to answer that,
That's
I think
totally different.
if you
That's
remember.
totally different because a lot of organizations request a certain dollar amount, don't necessarily mean that they get it, and then come back and say, well, it was a budget request, and now I want to give it back to them. That's not how it works.
Yeah, I don't think that's.
Commissioner Jackson is up first, and then Dr. Wilson.
Yeah, I'd like to make an amendment to this ordinance that it be up to $10,000 and that the payment arrangement be on a reimbursement basis. If I get a second on that, I can explain.
And we have a motion by Commissioner Jackson, a second by Commissioner Jones. Commissioner Jackson, I'm not sure that everybody understands your.
Yeah. No, I got you. So what I hear is, and I do remember us saying that there would be an increased cost. That's one of the things that we discussed, was that would be an increased cost when we enacted the ordinance.
Right.
Maybe this should have come sooner. To be honest, I had forgot about the mandatory spay and neuter ordinance that we did until the press release came out a couple days ago or whenever it went out. So I think it may have just fallen off folks' radar. But I do want to make sure that I don't know what their payment arrangement is now. Do they bill us for the work that they do, or do we just hand over them a check for the amount?
Well, I think they send us an invoice for the total amount, and we just pay it. It covers the whole year of service that they provide to us.
Right. So I think if I'm hearing Commissioner Johnson correct, and my concern too is I want to make sure that in this increase or this anticipated increase, we're actually paying for the increase, and we're not just handing over $10,000 because the increase may not be but $5,000 or $2,500. I don't know what their fee schedule is. So all I'm saying is put it as a up to $10,000 and do it on. I don't know how we do. I don't know how we did the 35, but I would think at least for this 10, at least in this case, and then in the next budget year, y'all should be able to look and see, okay, well, we only use 40,000, so we only need 40. Or, y'all know how to do the math,
Right,
but I don't want us to have 10,000 out there, and then it goes to 15,000, and it just never ends. So I just want to make sure that we have some safeguards around it. Somebody's mic or somebody's doing something in the mic. Is that me? Y'all don't hear me?
We've had
It's like some feedback kicking or something.
We've had several mic-related issues today, so I think they're looking at what's going on with it in the back. But
Okay,
it could be the controller that regulates the mics. But
Okay.
something is causing a few issues.
Gotcha. Well, all I'm saying is let's just make sure that we have some controls around it, at least for this budget year here, and I'll be fine with it.
So we've got a motion on the table with Commissioner Jackson to reimburse up to 10,000 and on a reimbursable basis.
For this fiscal year.
Now, Dr. Wilson, you're on the board before this. Did you want to comment on Commissioner Jackson's motion?
Yes, sir. I just wanted to make it clear that when we discussed this in the committee meeting about 6 months ago, that we did anticipate, because we make it a mandatory now that we do more spray and neutering work. So we did anticipate the increase in costs, and this was the measure to cover that cost. So, and I think it'd be okay if we do it on a reimbursement basis, because I think they render the service and they tell us what the cost is. We can work on that together.
Okay.
There shouldn't be an issue there.
Okay.
But the money is needed because of the increase that we anticipate will come as a result of the change in the ordinance.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Wilson. Commissioner Johnson, do you have a comment on that?
Yeah, I'd like to make a friendly amendment to what Commissioner Jackson said, that is based upon an increase over the prior year. So just say that somebody says they came in mandatory, but the number is still lower than last year, we shouldn't get an extra $10,000 or up to $10,000 added into it, if you understand what I'm saying. So if last year they did, say, 30,000 animals or 15,000 animals, and this year they only do 14,700, but they say, well, of that, 700 of those were mandatory animals that came in. We shouldn't be charged above what we already budget them for this year's budget, because that number was already included.
So your motion is that the parish reimburse for the incremental amount of spay
Based
and
on
neuters in-
last year's number to this year's number.
Do we have a second on that?
Yes, for a friendly amendment
Oh, thank you.
if you agree.
I don't quite understand it, but I guess we got 2 weeks to do this, so I guess I'll accept it. But I'm fine
basically,
with
if the numbers never change,
Right.
there's no increase of demand and increase of money that they need from us. That's
I
what
said
I'm
I
saying.
accept the amendment.
You set the benchmark at last year's
Right.
number of spay and neuters, and then incremental due to this program, they can submit those for
Because
reimbursement.
from what I remember on what we passed, if someone has a pure breed or someone has a dog a certain size, they don't have to do it. So the number that initially you was talking about was way out here, but when it finally got passed, that number came into this.
Yeah.
So you're basically dealing with mixed breed dogs now. And so out of those mixed breed dogs, those are the ones that would have to be done based upon what I remember. Now, if I'm wrong, somebody can correct me, but that's my
Well, it was
summary over the top.
if dogs were collared or tagged, they weren't necessarily subject to this mandatory spay and neuter unless they were multiple time escapees. So that ponied it way down. And then I don't remember the pure breed piece, but
Yeah, the pure breed piece is in there, because if I own a championship bred dog, I'm not finna go get it spayed or neutered, and I can make money off of it.
Mr. President, just more information to add to what he was saying. The pure breed part is focusing on those who breed dogs or take their dogs to competitions and things like that. Those were excluded.
Show dogs, yeah.
Yeah, show dogs from it as well. Yeah. So
Okay.
I mean, if I got a house dog in Moortown, Queensboro, MLK, that's a show dog, and it's pure breed.
Okay, so we have a motion by Commissioner Johnson. Who was the second on that?
Oh, he's a friendly amendment.
Oh, sorry, right, friendly amendment, so Commissioner Jackson accepted it. All right, so we have a amended motion to spend up to $10,000 and on a reimbursable basis, using the benchmark from last year, the delta between last year's benchmark and this year's number as the incremental amount.
Exactly.
Got it?
Got that?
I think I got it.
All right. Let's have a vote.
That's a matrix.
We're just voting on forwarding to Thursday as
And
amended.
that item advances with 10 in support, none in opposition, and 2 absent. And that brings us to the next item on the agenda, the authorization of resolution number 37 of 2022. That's a resolution authorizing the parish attorney to file suit on behalf of the parish, challenging the annexation by the town of Greenwood of lands in section 22, township 17 north, range 15 west, and related matters, and otherwise providing with respect thereto. That's from Commissioner Epperson.
Move to advance for Thursday.
A motion from Commissioner Epperson to advance to Thursday. I couldn't hear the
Second.
first second.
I second.
Seconded by Commissioner Johnson. Commissioner Epperson, would you like to comment?
Yes, sir. Just briefly, some of you may be familiar with this situation. It's taken several turns within the last year and a half, or maybe going on 2 years. However, I have a pretty voluminous file relative to what has transpired for those of you that may not be up to speed, which I would get you up to speed on it. And also, I had requested, had a public records request that I just received a portion of it. I think the email was timed at about 1:25 this afternoon, which I hadn't had a chance to peruse. In addition to that, Attorney Bernstein has been working on this item also, and he's absent today. He's doing a federal case in New Orleans, which he has to be in on Wednesday. So I would ask that we advance this to Thursday for more elaborate discussions as well as information from him on a legal basis.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Epperson. Commissioner Hopkins.
Yeah, this is the one I said I was perplexed on, because we're looking at the town of Greenwood is trying to annex the property that would be contiguous. There are no voters, there are no residents in that tract of land. They do something like that, there's no fiscal impact to the parish of Caddo or the fire district in the area. I went and looked in the filings, and all the ordinances, advertising, and everything has been followed for public hearing. They had a request from an individual, and finally, this is really no different than the request we've had from the town of Blanchard, town of Oil City, town of Ida. Over the last 4 to 5 years, we've had multiple businesses say, hey, we want to be annexed, and they've gone through the process just as Greenwood has, and I don't see where we need to be jumping in the middle of this fight. If there's someone in that city, that town, that doesn't want it annexed, they can sue. I don't think the parish government ought to be suing to stop this annexation. I see no reason.
Thank you, Commissioner Hopkins. Anything else? Is that it? Commissioner Chavez.
Thank you, President. I was reading the staff recommendation, and of course it's written by our parish attorney, who's not here, but his recommendation on this is to choose not to adopt the resolution and allow the annexation to take effect. So since he's not here, Dr. Wilson, I didn't know if you had any opinions on this. Our staff is recommending us to allow Greenwood to take this. I didn't know if you had an opinion on this or not, since I can't ask Attorney Bernstein.
I would yield to Attorney Bernstein for the legal perspective, but I just don't have an issue with it.
Okay. Also, one of the ladies that came here from Greenwood was saying that it was contested, saying that they did not, that our ordinance stated something that was false, and I didn't know what she meant in regards to that. Can you speak on that, Dr. Wilson?
Ordinance is false?
I received a transmission via our parish email that said that there was no public hearing in the town of Greenwood for this annexation, but from what she said that there was. Does anyone know if that's the truth?
I know it for truth because I looked it up on the Louisiana Association of Newspapers, and on May 6th of this year, the advertisement was in the Inquisitor.
Okay. I guess, President, I'm just a little confused. The city wants to annex this. They want the water. It seems like they went through by the law. Our legal is telling us we should allow it to happen. I don't understand the opposition. I'll yield to you and I guess wait for an explanation.
Well, it's not my resolution. I understand your logic. Commissioner Epperson has, made his case, so he's back on the board. So let's go to Commissioner Jackson. Then we'll come back to Commissioner Epperson and then Commissioner Johnson.
Yes, I just want to correct for the record that the recommendation that you see on the fact sheet is there should be alternatives, or the way this is listed can be misleading, but this is in the event we choose not to do it. That's my understanding of these fact sheets, and I would hope that staff is not getting in the middle of these things like this, because I don't think it's the parish attorney's place to start I can never pronounce this word, give their opinion. Well, I was gonna say editorialize, and I think I still jumbled the word up, but I can see how one can perceive this as being staff making this recommendation, but I think this is worded wrong, and I don't know where this template came from, but I think it's worded wrong as this should basically be what are the alternatives and what is the staff recommendation. So one of these lines should say if there is a staff recommendation, and then the other line should say what is the alternative if we choose to do something different. That's how it should actually read. So this is not a recommendation. That's not the recommendation of, I assume, since we in a huge legal liability here with no attorney, we probably should have asked Judge Wardell, why we don't have an attorney here today?
Because you have one out on FMLA.
Okay.
And one's a federal court in New Orleans.
Okay. Well, maybe we should consider contracting an attorney to sit in.
We had not had this event
Right.
before.
Yeah.
In my 20 years of being here.
Gotcha. Maybe y'all should give that some thought to see if they want to contract attorney until they return or something. Never had that happen before. But I don't think this is their recommendation. I can't speak for Henry, but I would hope, Dr. Wilson, do you know if this is their recommendation or this is what they're saying as an alternative?
This is one of the many times I'm lost for words, because I don't want to speculate what he was saying or what he intended. But he'll be here Thursday and he can kind of clarify that for you. But I don't know. I mean, when I read it, he's not telling you what you got to do one way or the other.
Gotcha.
But if you choose not to do it, you can choose not to adopt it.
Gotcha. That's how I've always read.
That's what it says.
Right. But there should be actually two lines there. So, thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Commissioner Jackson. Commissioner Epperson.
Number one, there isn't an ordinance that the parish has relative to this issue. There is no ordinance. It's a resolution. And secondly, as I stated earlier, let's give Mr. Bernstein the professional courtesy. He drafted this legislation, and he will be here Thursday, and he can answer all questions. So I would ask that we move this forward to Thursday. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Epperson. Commissioner Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just remember that when I was president and we had the bad weather, the water line that they're talking about was the line that was one of the last ones to come back into service. That line had to be serviced by the city of Shreveport, in order to supply the citizens in that area with water. And to put more demand on that particular line, I think cause more issues than what you see. As Commissioner Hopkins mentioned, the annexations around Blanchard, all of those have been favorable to the citizens in that area. But in case there was one, they wanted to put a strip club somewhere up on Highway 1 by I-49. I'm quite sure that I would have had a whole bunch of resistance to that, and we would have been doing the same thing up in Blanchard. But for the most part, what you got in Blanchard is some retail establishments, some restaurants that are coming up there that's much needed. So the citizens up there have been embracing it, except for the additional traffic. So you kind of got to look at this as what are the existing property owners, not in the track, but adjacent to the track, what are their feelings and what do they really need and want in that particular area. That's all I have.
Thank you, Commissioner Johnson. Seeing no one else on the board, let's vote on whether to forward this to Thursday's agenda or not.
All right, that motion does not advance with 5 in support, 5 in opposition.
The resolution.
I'm sorry, the item to advance is a resolution that does not advance with, because there's 5 in support. 5 and 5 is a hung.
5-5. We're missing 2 today.
Yeah, 2 absent. So if it was a simple majority, just to answer that, had there been 9 present and it was a simple majority of those present, it would have advanced, but it was 5-5. So that item does not advance, and we'll move forward to the next item, which is 11.5, authorizing Resolution 38 of 2022, urging and requesting the Registrar of Voters to redesignate the second Caddo early voting site from the Hamilton branch of the library to the Louisiana State Exhibit Museum.
Move to advance.
Motion by Commissioner Johnson to advance, a second by Commissioner Jones. Commissioner Johnson, would you like to comment?
This is something that, like I mentioned before, Commissioner Gage Watts and myself talked to the Secretary of State, and basically was saying that it's much easier to go to the Louisiana State Museum because there are a lot of things that has to happen at the Hamilton branch. Yes, I know the MOU has been signed, but there's still a lot of things that has to happen in between that time. And we need this second site up for the fall election. So the State Museum is plug and play. Go in, set up. The firewalls are already there. The dedicated lines are already there. And it's much easier, and we can always come back to the Hamilton branch and probably continue to work to get it up. But for the fall election, we need to have a second location. I think without having a second location, we're doing the citizens of Caddo Parish harm instead of helping them. That's all I have.
Thank you, Commissioner Johnson. Commissioner Chavez.
Thank you, President. I'll be voting no on this on behalf of District 10, my district, where we're anticipating on putting this second early voting site, which is, I think, very easy for people to get to from South Caddo and around the entire area. Moving this, that's already been pre-designated, that we've talked about for the last 3 years, to a new location that's about 2 miles away from the current location, I don't think it's going to help out on the early voting, and I think what we already have works. We've already agreed upon it, so I'd like to continue to see this move forward in Southern Hills. Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you, Commissioner Chavez. Commissioner Jackson.
Yes, thank you. I'm reading a whereas statement here, and it says, whereas the Registrar of Voters has declared that he intends to designate Hamilton South. I don't know that that's a true statement. I thought we declared that.
That's correct.
Okay.
And the registrar, he acknowledges that as well.
Right.
That was just a writing problem.
Right. So I just want to make sure that we clarify that. Yeah, I know it may just be some clarification need to be on maybe the parish attorney's end who wrote it, but it actually was the parish commission that declared that was the place. And I reached out as well to the registrar. I also reached out to the Secretary of State, and they seem pretty confident, Dr. Wilson, that Hamilton South will be ready. And what I got from them was any delays at this point would almost guarantee there would be none. I don't know, have you received that information?
Do you mean any change at this point?
Yeah, any changes at this stage of the game, there would be none, because there was always this, what really was holding it up was they were trying to figure out, were they going to do an electronic system, or were they going to do this new ballot, whatever the new voting machines were. But my understanding is that this late in the game, if we changed or, did you?
I was told the same thing, sir.
And then I also understand that all we can do is declare and designate where we would like to see it. It is ultimately up to the registrar, it's ultimately up to the Secretary of State to accept that? Is that?
Right. That's correct.
So
That's correct.
I just think, whatever we choose to do, I think we need to consider those facts, that if we start trying to go down a different path at this point, we won't have any second early voting. We're almost guaranteed, is what I've been told, is that we won't have any second location. So just something that we need to consider here. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Commissioner Jackson. Commissioner Burrell, go ahead in front of me.
Well, based upon what Commissioner Jackson just said, I'm concerned as to whether or not we have the assurance that this location will actually be up. I haven't heard any assurances there either.
I can comment on that.
Okay, Mr. President.
Anything else, Commissioner
He said
Burrell?
he couldn't hear
No,
the
that's,
question.
that's my question.
Dr. Wilson said he couldn't hear the question.
Is that a question for the administration, Commissioner Burrell?
Go ahead.
I don't care who answers it. My thought is, based upon what Commissioner Jackson just finished saying, that if we wind up making a change to another location, that would almost guarantee us not to have one.
Yeah.
But I have not heard
When I spoke,
A guarantee that we'll
a
be ready.
guarantee that this location would actually be up as a second location.
yes, sir. When I spoke to the registered voter, that they are pressing full force to get the Hamilton branch established, and he told me if we deviate from that, we'll probably have nothing for this fall. But more than likely, he will have this one finished to the best of their knowledge, because the state have to order all the equipment, but they have done everything that we need to do on our end and the registrar's end to make this happen. And bar they having a problem with the equipment coming in, it should be up and running, and that's what the registrar is telling me,
So
and that's what he communicated to us in the email.
So you're confident that we have it?
Yes, sir. I did have the opportunity to speak to the registrar last Thursday. He came by my office on another matter. Actually, we discussed a personnel issue to man the sites and what he would take, what he needs personnel-wise and the cost of that. We had a conversation last week, Wednesday or Thursday, and he was still pressing to get it done this fall.
Well, I guess my only concern is based upon the conversation that I've had or the conversation that I've heard in here, that we really should have had a second location prior to now, but for whatever reason, Caddo, being as large as it is, it does not have a second site. It only has one, and then Bossier has what?
One. Bossier has one at the library on Benton Road. That's the second site. The courthouse is the primary site, and the secondary site is the library on Benton Road.
But they have two then.
A total of two, yeah.
Yeah, they got two. Yes.
Well,
One
that's my point.
one additional site, I think, is what Dr. Wilson was saying.
Okay. Well, that was my point, that they already have a second site, and as large as we are, we don't have one, and it appears that, somebody been dragging their feet. I know the request had been made earlier. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. All right, Mr. President.
Thank you, Commissioner Burrell. Just to reiterate what Commissioner Jackson and Dr. Wilson said, I also had those conversations with the registrar of voters, and Mr. Sibley did convey to me that his team is working as strong as possible to get the Hamilton branch second voting site up and running by the election. His caveat was, I just hope that the supply chain cooperates. but he is working with all focus to get Hamilton Terrace branch up and running. And he stated that if we were to change course at this time, it would be almost impossible to have a second voting site open for the fall. So those were his statements to me. So sounds like Commissioner Jackson and Dr. Wilson and I all were hearing a similar message there.
Mr. President.
You back on the board, Commissioner Jackson?
Yeah, I just want to add to Commissioner Burrell. Probably about, I think maybe 15 years ago, I think the legislature because of Bossier Parish's size, the legislature created their second site for them. It's been in place, I want to say maybe 20 years now or more, but it's been in place, and it was because of their population size. That's how, and their county seat or their parish seat is in Benton, but their at the time it was created, the population center was the city of Bossier, and so that's why the legislature stepped in and they designated and created and authorized. So
you're saying that Bossier City at that time population was greater than Caddo?
No, it was smaller. And so so our process, because of our size, is it starts here. At the time, because of their size, their population size, it started at the legislature. They were smaller, so their population size was smaller. So they ended up going through the legislature to get theirs done. So it was same thing with I believe the Soda Parish Police Jury. Is that it starts in Baton Rouge. So if you are a smaller size parish, it starts in Baton Rouge. Larger size parishes, there has to be a resolution from the commission or police jury to start that process. But I do know that Bossier's process started in Baton Rouge with the legislature.
And it had to do with the size of the parish.
It's because they, as you know, like even some parishes or some cities are under the Lawson Act, some cities are home rule. And so I think at that time, which is why I'm saying maybe 20 plus years ago or so, but Bossier was small, Bossier Parish was small enough in population that theirs had to start at the legislature.
So let me be clear. They received a second site, although they were smaller, but it started in the legislature.
Well, you know how, I think you know better than all of us how
Different
politics
process.
how the politics down there work. So
Yeah, it is kind of stupid.
All done? Okay. All
Thank
right,
you, Mr.
seeing no one
President.
else on the board, let's please vote on, what is the number, on resolution 38. A vote yes would forward it to Thursday, a vote no would not forward it.
All right, and that item does not advance with 5 in favor, 5 in opposition, and 2 absent. That brings us to the next item, authorizing a special resolution proclaiming July as Parks and Recreation Month.
move to Thursday.
Second.
All right, so we're just making a motion to move this to Thursday and present it on Thursday?
Correct.
Motion by Commissioner Jackson, second by Commissioner Jones. Commissioner Jackson, would you like to comment on your resolution?
Yeah, I'd like to global and advance the resolution for Parks and Recreation, also the one for the recognition of the sickle cell tournament. I think we already did Nationals baseball, and that's it for that one. And then I heard, well, I guess I'll speak to my motion if it gets a second.
All right, we have a motion to englobo and advance item 11.6 and item 11.8.
And the one for Marshall Caldwell.
Oh, and then the agenda extension, which I guess is 11.9.
It's going to be 11.10.
All right.
We'll just add it on the end there.
Okay, at the end, okay.
Second.
I think Commissioner Jones had already seconded it, but thank you, Commissioner Epperson.
No, I came in and I heard Yoshi. If you could, I heard you talk about the expungement. I don't know if you've gotten with Patrick Wesley there. Y'all connected. Okay, maybe some of that Safe Summer resources. And are you doing it with the radio station, or are you just doing it independent? Okay, well, okay. Well, Dr. Wilson, if we can partner them up and make sure that the parish has its
I already did.
exposure out there on this deal, and we okay. Gotcha. Well, we also, Dr. Wilson, I don't know, you might want to check with Erica when she returns. I don't know if legal aid or legal services expended all of their expungement money, but we set some expungement monies aside to help pay down the cost of expungements. So I don't know if that money is still there or what.
I think we're looking at August to do a expungement summit.
Okay.
Commissioner Gage wants us pushing that.
Okay.
For August.
Okay. So whatever we need to do, but I know I put the ordinance forward to set that money aside, and so whether it's at our expungement summit or at theirs, I just think if people come for expungements, they come for more than just information. And so if they can go ahead and get their jacket clean, then if we can get it before August, great. But I don't want us to wait. So if those resources, which would just basically just be legal aid.
Like say summer be the venue for that one. There'll be actual food and resources, not money and cash.
Right. No. What I'm talking about is the actual expungement. I heard something about expungement.
Commissioner Jackson, is this related to these three items that you want to pick this up at communication?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking about the national parks. That's what made me think. Thank you.
Okay, you good?
I'm sorry.
All right, Commissioner Johnson, you're on the board.
No, I was gonna englobo those, but
Okay.
I did.
And Commissioner Burrell, did you have something on this in Globo in advance?
More so just to be added to those resolutions.
To all three resolutions? Could you please add Commissioner Burrell to each of the three, Mr. Clerk?
I will.
All right, so we have a motion to englobo items 11.5, 11.8, and 11.10. Englobo in advance, those three items. Seeing no one on the board, let's have a vote.
All right, that motion carries with 10 in support, none in opposition, and 2 absent. And that brings us to 11.9, which is to consider authorizing Gary Joyner as a visitor for regular session agenda.
So move to advance.
Second.
We have a motion from Commissioner Chavez to add Dr. Joyner to the agenda for Thursday, and a second by Commissioner Lazarus. Commissioner Chavez, would you like to comment on your motion?
Sure, thanks, President. Commissioners, I've asked for your support on this. Gary Joyner has been working with Lieutenant Governor Billy Dungesser about a civil rights trail that goes from South Louisiana up here, and there was things left off, and he's been doing some research. He wanted to come talk to everybody about that and give a report. So he can't make it today to talk about it because he had a prior engagement, but he wanted to come this Thursday. So I'd ask for your support. Thank you, President.
Thank you, Commissioner Chavez. Commissioner, you're off the board, Commissioner Johnson. No one, seeing no one. Oh, Commissioner Burrell.
Mr. Chairman, I wasn't sure why Mr. Joyner was coming, and since Mr. Chavez explained it,
You're off the board? Okay. Commissioner Jackson, are you back on the board?
So I understand that he's coming to talk solely about the civil rights trail.
He's not coming to talk about redistricting, if that's what you guys are worried about.
No. I'm just saying because I know that there was a group that was working on the civil rights trail, and if they need to plug in. So is Gary coming in the capacity representing that group, or is he coming in his own capacity?
I'll have to ask him and get back with you, Commissioner. I'm not sure.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
I would assume he's representing his own self unless we hear otherwise.
Yeah, there's a group, though, that had been working, because when we went to unveil the placard at
Little
Union, there was a group that had been formed, and I don't know if he's working with that group or not. And Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser was there. So.
Well, we can hook him up. Commissioner Epperson, are you on the board?
That was my concern. Has he gotten with that group, with the people at Little Union? Because Lieutenant Governor Nungesser came and dedicated that, and they were all here. So
well, it
looks like he should get together with that group and see if they want to expand that. I don't know the nature of his call, so I would think he should get together with that group.
We can, if he's not aware of it, we can enlighten him on that matter. All right, are we all ready to vote on this item, on authorizing Dr. Joyner as a visitor for the regular session agenda? Please vote yes or no. Is that me that's not gone through yet?
All right, and that item advances with 8 in support, 2 in opposition, and 2 absent. And that brings us to communication committee reports.
All right, Commissioner Burrell.
Thank you, Mr. President. I more than likely will be addressing this on Thursday too, but the Northwest Louisiana 6 Union softball tournament is coming up. It's the 8th through the 11th. We've also partnered with the governor's office in their governor's game. There's been some changes. You know, we've been around now 44 years. Probably the largest and the oldest softball tournament in the South, as they register, they call it the granddaddy of them all. And I've been chaired it for over 25 years now, believe it or not. And although the economy has taken a turn, we probably will not have the number of teams that we would normally have, which we've reached over 200 teams. We cut off at 200. So that makes it the largest. And but last year, I believe it was at around 100. But we're still trying to push it because it makes such an impact on our area. At our height, we normally contributed about $2 million to the economy just that weekend. So again, we're asking all of our citizens who are out to come out and take part. In our program, we will have fireworks. We have a firework display. We have a family fun zone where we will have water slide, being as hot as it is. We will have refreshments and food and great softball. We will also have a home run derby, and we will have a senior team coming from the governor's games. They're going to have, I believe that's 45 and older. So it should be a great event for the parish as well as the city.
Where will it be held?
It will be held at Cargill Park. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Commissioner Burrell. Commissioner Jackson.
Yes, I want to just kind of shout out Parks and Rec for some of the work that they've been doing, particularly with the program that they did with the district attorney's office, as well as the Valencia reunion, and just some of the other the football camps that they've had. If we could just kind of get maybe an overview, not a long one. The last one y'all did was real long. No, not now. Just in the future. Maybe after the summer is over, just some of the activities, and maybe even y'all can put it in a video format.
We had a package we gave out.
Right. Probably not that paper, sorry, John. But not all that paper. But maybe if y'all want to put it in a digital format to just highlight. It's a lot of stuff, and I sometimes find it hard to keep up with. And just to even hear that y'all already connected to this program here. Appreciate you, Patrick, for your work. You know, we try to keep youth engaged. We try to keep the community engaged. I know that Stony Hill is coming up, and all I tell them to do is, you know, hit Patrick Wesley up, or hit Miss Katina up, or hit Miss Mary up, and all you have to do is show up, and everything is taken care of. I think for Valencia they had a jazz band and refreshments, and the community really appreciated that. Everybody was trying to figure out where did it come from. I do like to make sure that we get credit for it, so let's make sure that they are recognizing the parish and Parks and Recreation for our support of those events. The other thing that I wanted to reach out to you on, Dr. Wilson, is I think Todd said the housing thing is set. Okay. Okay. All right. Right. And then the one on CCC, if you could get me that information. Do I need the CCC medical stuff?
Oh, yeah, I've already sent it. The request in.
Okay. Because I got the first batch that you sent,
Right.
but I'd asked for some kind of detail to drill down into 3.6 million.
Yeah, Valley's working on that for me.
Okay. All right. Appreciate it. Thank you. That's it. Thank you, Mr. President.
All right, Commissioner Jackson, did you want to follow up on that expungement discussion with?
Oh, no, I was just saying, thank you, Mr. President. I was just saying on the expungement, I was trying to get the group to plug in, not send them any funds. But if that group can be there, if legal aid, I didn't know if we still had the funds available, or if they still had the funds dedicated to them. But if that group can be there to do that for them, because my understanding is we moved those funds aside for legal aid, and now legal aid had, because of COVID, they weren't able to do them as much. But if we can have them at that event to do, they can also come do the parish's event. But I just think that if they're going to be doing expungements,
So that we're going to have 2 expungement summits in 30-day period. Because I think Commissioner Gage Watson has already wanted to wait till you come back from NACO
Yeah.
to do the parish expungement in August.
well, when I put the ordinance together, I didn't contemplate one. I contemplated whenever there was an expungement opportunity.
Yeah, well,
Not-
yeah, she just took the leadership role because she had done it.
Well, how somebody take a leadership role on the ordinance that I put forward?
Well, she has always done the expungements for the last 8 to 10 years.
As the author of the ordinance, I'm
Okay.
as the author of the ordinance, I didn't say that it was going to, it didn't say that it was going to be the parish's expungement summit. It contemplated any expungement opportunity. And so I think that if there's going to be an expungement event, whether it's his event or the Black Lawyers Association or whoever is doing it, I think they need to be plugged in, because the reality is everybody might not be able to make ours. Some folks may be able to make his. So I don't even know when his is.
Yeah.
So I really don't care. I just think that any opportunity that we can get to get folks their jacket clean,
I agree.
the funds were set aside not just for a parish expungement summit, but for any expungement opportunity. And I'm asking that we make that opportunity available for the event. Is it going to be in Caddo Parish? No, there. Is it in Caddo Parish? So I think.
What's the location, sir?
So those will be Caddo Parish residents. Those will be opportunities, and folks will show up. I think anytime we can touch as many people as possible, that's what the ordinance
No
contemplated.
problem here, sir.
So I just want to make sure that I'm clear on that. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Commissioner Jackson. Anyone else on communiques? Commissioner Burrell.
Mr. President, I just wanted to, on Parks and Recreation, I think early on when we were addressing the YMCA and the monies that we gave to them for the new
Softball,
facility that
baseball field.
yeah, that they, I think I expressed my concern about the Stewart Bell Stadium and the program that they have there. I looked into that, and I understand that they do have a program. It's a relatively smaller program for our youth in that area, and it's one of the few facilities in the inner city that deals with baseball for these inner city youth. I would like to get with Patrick, and I understand that the parish is involved in at Stewart Bell Stadium, and see if we can build a relationship with the YMCA as a feeder. I think that would be very, very helpful. I did get a correspondence from the YMCA after we made our vote, but I haven't sat down with him to talk about what I would like to see, and I will be talking with Commissioner Jackson, because it is in his district, but it just happened to be at a location where I go to church. And it's a beautiful facility. The Stewart Bell Stadium has a lot of history, and I don't want it to die on the vine because nobody's not keeping it in the forefront. So I
Appreciate that.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Burrell. Commissioner Jackson, you back?
Yeah, I'm gonna probably scare Dr. Wilson and Patrick here, but I'd like to see if we entertain a conversation at some point about the parish taking over Stuart Bell Stadium. Taking over Stuart Bell Stadium and making it one of our
Sounds good.
I'm
all for it.
Sites. I think we got some good. We got Miss Bessie D. Smith Park that sits on the highway that I don't know that I've ever seen anybody at it. But and you know where it's at, right? It's like on that service road right on side of Highway 1. I've never seen it. It looks nice. It's clean and it's nice, but I don't know. Is it used, Patrick? Yes, sir. They use Bessie D. Smith Park? Okay. She'll kill me for hearing me say this, but I just want to make sure we get high utilization. But maybe if y'all could, I noticed y'all didn't have any of your master plan meetings in District 3. He scratched his head on that one. But maybe an opportunity to see if we can take Stuart Bell Stadium into our inventory if it's feasible and doable enough. Since we can't do 4th Street in Towson, I think that might be an equal compromise. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Commissioner Jackson.
We've also invested a lot of money into that stadium to bring it back up to par. It's a very, very nice stadium.
All right, Mr. Clerk, does that take us to?
That brings us to citizens' comments, late arrivals, and I have not received any requests for citizens' comments, so now we find ourselves at consent agenda.
Move to adjourn.
Let's adjourn. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir.